good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, depending on where you are currently. And we're happy to have you here today for our latest webinar about the text image matching functionality in Transkribus, which is a rather new tool that we have introduced this year. And today we want to give you a good overview how you can use this tool, how you can leverage it to bring your workflows to a new level and the existing material that you might have into Transkribus. A very brief overview. First, I will give you a very quick introduction into today's webinar, and then my colleagues will take over about preparing the data for text image matching, about setting up the process in general, how it works, what you need to take into consideration, and we are also giving you some tips for the usage, how you can work with text image matching efficiently, and how you can bring that to the full use. And finally, we also have room for some Q&A. So if you have questions, you can always use the chat. Always just put them in the chat. We will try to also answer them right away during the webinar if those questions are fitting the context. Otherwise, we will try to go over those questions at the end of the webinar and then try to answer them. First, a very quick overview who's today with me here. We have Rafael, who is our lead engineer on the tool. He can answer also very technical questions if we have some, which is great. We also have Sarah here from our customer success team, a very experienced user of the tool. So you tested the tool quite thoroughly and can tell us a little bit about the user experience. And I'm Flo from the product team. I will try to give you an overview of the more high-level things about Transkribus. So a very brief introduction to begin with. You might know the situation. That's also probably the case why you are here. There's instances before Transkribus where you might have typed out historical material. You might come across some historical material and typed it into Word or any other text editor to have a digital transcription of your material. Now, that has some limited value. Of course, you can read it, but you cannot replicate it, so you cannot train models with it. You cannot do further things with it. What we have now introduced with the text image matching functionality is that you can actually take your existing transcriptions, import them into Transkribus, and match them with your image where you have transcribed the text from. And by doing so, you have a number of different applications that we can derive from it. I will come to that in a second. First, a very quick definition. What does that feature do? Actually, it's a feature that aligns those pre-existing transcriptions that you have in text format or Word format, and then aligns it with the corresponding document images. So that's the layout information where the text is actually on the image, which is very valuable information if you want to further use that material. By using our AI models in Transkribus, you can do so. So basically what happens when you use text image matching is that there is a recognition running in the background, and it will then try to match the output of that recognition with your pre-existing transcription. And then once that is done, your pre-existing transcription will be the output of that process, and you have your lines that are imported into Transkribus matched with the corresponding, depending on how good the matching process went, which is also depending on the model, but we will hear about that. You can then match these two things directly in Transkribus. Why is that good? On the one hand, you can create ground truth very quickly with that. You might know the term ground truth. Ground truth is basically the currency if you train a model, which is used to train the AI to recognize that kind of handwriting. So basically, good training data is the most important basis for training AI. All the big AI companies are basically fighting for the same good training data. That is the foundation for every good AI model. So by importing existing transcriptions where you have put in your heart, soul, and sweat back in the times when you typed everything out, now you can make use of it and import it into Transkribus. When you have a partial transcription of some corpus, you might import that into Transkribus now, make use of it, and then continue transcribing that very corpus with your model that you have trained on your first established transcriptions. And you can also make your text searchable, because once you have typed it out, it is in some form searchable, but with the search functionality in Transkribus, you can enhance that and search the whole corpus in one go. So to use as a very rough overview, the text image matching process, you first need to prepare your material. So you need to have your documents stored somewhere in text format or docx format. And then you need to set up the text image matching process, run it in Transkribus, and then finally evaluate and use those results. And how that works in concrete terms, I will now explain you my colleague Sarah and later on Raphael. So take it away, Sarah.
Thank you very much, Flo. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, here we are. And now we will see how to prepare and upload the data before doing the matching. The first thing we need is the images of our transcribed document and the transcription of the document. The transcription should be in a Word file, docx, or txt format. These are the two accepted formats that we allow to upload. And you have to remember that even if you have multiple images, all the text, all the transcription should be in only one file. So it's only possible to upload one file per document. Why do we need both the images and the transcript? Is quite obvious that we need the image to have a visual reference for the system to identify and align the text region with the corresponding text. And we need the transcript to have the textual data that will be matched with our image. So what Transkribus is doing with this feature is to match the lines in the image with the lines in your text. First, we need to get the images into the platform. I'm sure most of you are already users of Transkribus, so you know how to do it, but it's just a brief recap on how to do it. We first create a collection with the tab collection. We can create a new collection. We open it and then we create a new document, uploading all the images that our document contain. We support images in JPEG and PNG format, and the image size limit is 10 megabyte per image, or you can upload the document in a PDF format. The size limit of the PDF is 200 megabyte, and it should have a maximum of 3,000 pages. And in the case of a PDF, every page of the PDF becomes a page of the document in Transkribus. After the upload, we want to get the transcription into Transkribus. These are two different steps. So it's not possible to upload the transcription at the same time when you upload your images. You will see that you won't find them in your folder because Transkribus only select the accepted format, so JPEG, PNG, or PDF, and you won't see other type of files when you upload your images. To import your text, you need to use the text-to-image feature. So you go inside to your document, and on the right side, you see this button called Import Text. You click on it, and here you have two options. The first is to match the transcription, the text, the transcription with an existing text. You have to use this option, match with current text, if you have already run the text recognition on those pages. The other option, recognize and match text, you use it if you haven't run the text recognition on those pages, and so the images are completely new. And in this way, Transkribus will first run the text recognition and then do the match. Why is necessary to have the text recognition before? Because we use a text recognition model before the matching process or during the matching process, because we needed to have a rough transcription to match it with the text in your document. So this is the base on how the tool works. First, there is a rough transcription done by AI. It could have been done before the matching process or in the same at the same time, and then you can only thanks to that you can match the existing transcription. And now we will look how to do it inside of the software. So we are here. This is your Transkribus, the Transkribus homepage that we are all familiar with. And we go to collection. We start a new collection. We can call it team, which is the acronym of text to image. And we create a collection. Now we want to upload our documents. For example, here I have 8 images that I want to upload, and I can have the title here. It's these are 8 pages from a diary, and I click submit. And now the job was started, and I can open here the jobs view page to look at the status. So it's running, but I have already uploaded it. So if we go here, you can see our 8 images, and these are completely new images, so no recognition have been done on those pages. We go here, and you have to select the pages that you want to do the match with. So in my case, I have a transcription of all the 8 pages, but it could also be that you only have the transcription of the first 4 ones, and you don't have the transcriptions of the other pages, so you can select just the pages for which you have the transcription. After having selected them, you go here to import text, and you see these 2 options, match with current text and recognize and match. You click to, in my case, I want to recognize and match because I haven't, I don't have the recognition yet. So I click here and I select a model. In this case is an English document. So I will choose the English Eagle, which is the most powerful English model that we have. And at this point here, I can upload my Word file. And let's take this one here. It's the Word file, and start the match. And now I leave the floor to Raphael, and he will explain us into detail how all these settings work and which are the results that we can get afterwards.
Thank you, Sarah. Hi all, this is my first webinar. I hope everything works well. And now I want to share my screen first. Okay, this one. I think.
Yes, it works.
Does it work? Good.
Yes.
Because my Zoom window on the left screen suddenly vanished. Okay, no problem. As Sarah explained, we have 2 main workflows. The first options is with match with the current text. And Sarah showed you the second options, which I will come to soon. As Sarah mentioned, we need a recognized text to match your text into Transkribus. And sorry, so you can make your own recognition in before. And also you can apply corrections, change regions. You can correct the layout mainly, because this should match quite well your transcriptions to get good results. In the first options, when you use the current transcript, you have no model selection on the left side, and the biggest difference is keep unmatched lines is not available in option 2, only in this option, because the recognition doesn't cost anything. The text-to-image matching doesn't cost anything. It's available for all scholarships, subscriptions and above. And so we needed to find a way so that this cannot be exploited to get free HDR. So this option is only available if you have done your recognition in beforehand, and so you already have paid for it and it's your recognition. Then you are allowed to mix in the recognition with your transcript if you want to do so. And the second workflow is where we do recognition and text-to-image matching in one process, in one workflow. And there you have in the form the possibility to choose the model on the left side. Sorry. And you don't have the option to mix and keep the HDR. So now I will mainly go over all the options you have and what the results then look like. First off, we have the block threshold and the line threshold. The block threshold determines the quality of the pre-selection. The pre-selection is we allow you to upload a text without any page breaks, without any formatting, and match this to the complete entire document you have uploaded to Transkribus. Because the matching process of line basis is a very complicated algorithm. And if you have too much text that doesn't fit, and we also allow that the reading order doesn't have to match, we have really endless possibilities to match these lines. And so we have a pre-selection process where we go over the transcription and first try to find the text for every block. And if we have assigned a text to every block, then we make the matching on line based. So the first option, block threshold, is mainly here because of performance problems. And it's no problem to put it really low. Put it on 0 isn't that good, which means he can put in any text, but he tries to get the best match. This is only a threshold to say if only 20% of the region matches, then don't try it further because we know the results will be very bad. But it also works with 0.1. So mainly this is here because of performance issues, and you can keep it very low. Yeah. And the line threshold here comes in the real quality and the real magic, where you can do different things than with this tool. This determines how exactly one line of your transcripts has to match one line in the HDR. And if you have a lower value here, it allows more matching, and therefore you can have more OCR errors. So it depends strongly on how exact or how good the HDR works. If you can see that the HDR was quite bad, or if the text is very complicated and you await a lot of problems, then you should lower this value to get more matches. But if you want to use this as ground truth later on, and if you don't have the resources to correct the Transkribus document afterwards, then you should take a high value here. You will get less matches, but they are more likely to be true positives. Then we have here some checking options. Preserve line order means it keeps the line order of the HDR. The HDR often has a different line order than your transcript. And with this, you can force more or less the line order of the HDR or to take the line order of the transcript. The second option, keep unmatched lines, are already mentioned. This will mix in if he's not able to find a good match for the line, he will keep the HDR text in that line. So you also keep the errors in there, but you get a complete text where most of it is matched and corrected. And the third option is use source line feeds. This is also for performance reasons, but also determines the quality. Mainly it means it will use the line feeds you have in your transcript and will only match entire lines with entire lines. If this not is checked, we break down the transcript to words and match word-based. And after HDR has often problems at the beginning and at the end of the line, there will happen more errors. But if you don't have the line feeds in the text, this is the only option, and this allows you to more or less ignore the available layout. Here we have an example for the keep unmatched lines. If we have a high line threshold and we have disabled keep unmatched lines, your transcript will look like this, that you have a lot of empty lines in there. This is good for in terms of ground truth, because the matches that are here are of a high quality and most certainly are correct. And these lines can be used for ground truth and to train further models. Yeah. Then setting for improved matching. They allow double matching. We have a process where on the pre-selection, we allow only that one instant of your text is used per region. If you allow double matching, we allow that the same text of your transcript is matched to multiple regions. This can be beneficial if you want to reuse a text, or if the text, how shall I say, have a lot of repetitions in it. Then this can be quite useful. In the most cases, you want this option. And the last option is add unmatched text at the end. This is a feature we use to help you to get the unmatched lines of your transcript into Transkribus. So at the end of the matching, we will add a new region at the end of the page where all lines of your transcript are in, so you can copy it and paste it at the right position in the right line to speed up the correction process if you want to do so. In case of ground truth production, if you want to use it as an automatic ground truth, this should be unchecked because this will be noise for the training. So, and now we can have a look at some examples. first evaluation. Sorry, I don't have a good overview over the slides. The most thing already mentioned. Yeah, the first thing to evaluate if the matching was good is pick samples out and match it visually. But you can see if a lot of empty lines in there, if you have keep unmatched lines disabled, then you will have a lot of empty lines in there, which means the matching didn't work that well. Yeah, and also the same for the unmatched region at the end. Here it is. If there are a lot of text in the unmatched region, this was all text he wasn't able to match and identify. So here is a review for the unmatched lines. We have two regions, and on the right side, we see all the lines he wasn't able to match into the left region. In this case, the region doesn't match because this is region 1 matched and region 4 unmatched. I think this region belongs to another region. Not important yet now, but the unmatched region shows you the entire text that was not matched, and you just can copy it and paste it into the empty lines where it fits by yourself if you want to get a complete high quality transcription in Transkribus. But the text-to-image matching is most often used to produce a cheap ground truth. Often you have a lot of pages and you have your text already in form of a transcript, but not with physical information like the coordinates or where they belong on the image. My slides are always switching by itself. Okay, so if you want to use it for ground truth production, and if you don't have money to correct everything by yourself, but you have the text, you can use this with the already mentioned options. You disable add unmatched text at the end of the line, and disable keep unmatched lines, and turn the line threshold quite high so that the matched lines are of a high quality and that this matching fits. Then you can use this as a very cheap option to produce ground truth. Yeah. And one more important tip for the usage is if you have multiple pages and you have a transcript without any page breaks, the pre-selection process is quite complicated, take quite some time, and will make errors. So it's a good middle way to say we take the pages and the pre-selection produces less errors, and then the overall matching will be much better and it's much quicker. So if you have the resources to build in page breaks, you can use the label TRP page breaks at any position in your text document or Word document, and then we call this as a page, and this makes the matching for us quite easier and increases the quality. Yeah, and the default line threshold is 0.45. You can go lower and will have quite a good matching if there are not much errors. And as already mentioned, if you want to use it for ground truth, you should go to 0.65 or higher to get proper true positive lines. Another thing to mention is the noise in your transcript. If you have a lot of different information in your transcript that isn't on the image, this will make the matching process much more difficult. So you have to watch that, or have to look that your transcript matches the content on the image as much as possible. A lot of transcript has additional marginalia, comments, line pages, other layout informations, which will noise up the matching process and will result in a bad or better quality. So then let's have a look at the software at some examples. We have uploaded some examples here for the webinar. We have some multi-page examples, which Sarah provided for us. Here I want to show you the page break problem and how the quality is affected by this. So if you have a transcript without any line feeds and page breaks, this should be this one. The process for 8 pages takes about 4 minutes, and the quality is okay, but it can do better. So here we have.
If you switch to another page, you will see that the quality is a bit worse because as you say, there is no page or line breaks, so it's working on single words mainly, and it's very difficult to match it, even if the original transcription is quite good. But here you see the blank page, the blank line, for instance.
And also, if you don't have checked the use source line feeds, and the matching is done on word basis, the unmatched region will contain a lot of single words, which will make further correction a little bit more expensive. Yeah, we have several words weren't matched on every page. So quite some errors. But overall, quite okay. Here are some more errors. Yeah. You can also make it mixed. You can make the text-to-image matching with the unmatched region, correct everything you want. But if you want to use it afterwards for ground truth, you should delete the unmatched regions. Okay, let's have a look at another example.
Yeah, you can pick the one with the page and line breaker, and the first document here, and this should be better, because there are also the layout elements that helps with the recognition.
Yeah, we can directly see if we use the page line breaks. In this case, he only wasn't able to match the last word here. But this maybe there's also a little bug with the last line. Still working on it. Hope to fix this soon. But still, the matching is much better here. Yes. Here we have matched everything. So here is only one line missing. Probably this one. Yeah, this one here. And if you want to correct this, just copy this, fill it in here, and it's completed. Then you can delete this one if you want. I save this.
Yeah, now this page should be ready for your ground truth because you move
Exactly.
the unmatched line in the right position and you deleted the blank region. And now it's ready to be used as ground truth.
Exactly. And if there is no unmatched region, he was able to match the entire text he has found. So here is the page number, the problem. There will be, it's an automatic process, there will always be little problems. Yeah. So here we can see this page breaks and source line feeds. It works quite well and you don't have a lot to correct. And even if you don't correct, if you can uncheck the add unmatched text in the last line, then this region won't be here. And this line stays empty and you can write on, use it as ground truth.
Yeah, I think it really depends on how much time you can dedicate to the ground truth.
Exactly.
Because
sure.
in this way, if you don't unmatch if you disable the unmatched lines at the end, you lose some lines of text. So you would have less ground truth, but you don't need to check every page to match it in the right position. So
Exactly.
you have to evaluate what is best for your project.
Okay, and I also want to show you one more example because there was a question about this. And this is, I have here a multi-column or multi-page example, which was really problematic, but it also shows what is possible. And I will show you the fresh one after the recognition. This is a page from a letter. Oh, wrong one, sorry. Oh, it is the scrambled one. Okay. So this is a letter, handwritten letter. I've done the recognition in beforehand. Here we have the problem that the layout is really problematic. He only has made one region and every line swaps from left to right. So the layout is completely scrambled and it's damaged. But even so, he was able to match every line. So, and I think I haven't found any error. So the matching can work quite well even when the layout is completely scrambled and doesn't fit. The biggest problem here is the last line because this doesn't exist in this way in the transcript. And that's why it doesn't fit there. So I think that was all I wanted to show you.
I have a last question for you, Raphael.
Yes, please.
Yeah, maybe we can explain better when to choose the first option or when to choose the second one. I think the first option gives you more control, especially on the layout, but it's an extra step. So it depends when you want to, how much time you want to invest on correcting the match text. If you want to have higher chances to have a good result, it would be better to run the text recognition first and correct a bit the layout.
Exactly.
Am I right?
Exactly. I would the second option only use if you don't want to spend money for testing, for example. If you have a transcript and some images and you just want to find out your own workflow, you can use this option and you can use your text that way and test the text-to-image matching. And then if you have your workflow and your transcript, you can use Transkribus to make a recognition in beforehand, correct a little bit of the layout of the big problems, or just have a look at it, and then start the matching this way.
like in the last example you show, if you corrected the last line before doing the match, probably the match would have been correct in the end. Likely, we don't know.
Likely, most likely, yes. I have done this, but there are still bugs in there. So yeah. So I hope I could explain a little bit and it wasn't too stuttery. Thank you very much, and I give back to Flo.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, I think a very, very powerful tool. You can do a lot with it. We've seen there's a lot of settings, so mastering all of them is certainly not super easy. But really, honestly, it's a great tool to work with existing transcriptions. I mean, if you have questions, type them in the chat. So we're really happy to take them if you might have some. In the meantime, I have prepared one just to understand a little bit how the structure of your workflow might look like, just in terms of size. So as you have joined this webinar, it's likely that you might have some pages you want to import. And depending on the size, there's also different approaches you can take. Because if you have like less than 100, you might work very differently than if you have more. Some of you seem to have more, at least one so far. I will also share the results so you can see how others, or how, with what size of material others are confronted with, which is really interesting to see, because actually if you have more than 5,000 pages and they are thoroughly transcribed and you manage to import that correctly and nicely, then you can really train a very powerful model with it. So that can benefit greatly. And if you have even more than more to then recognize, then you have a very nice use case to basically use that feature to the fullest, train your own model based on it. So I would just stop in the meantime, so you can see what amount of data. Many of you are between 1,000 and 5,000 pages. That will already, if you manage to use text to image matching with that amount of data, and even if you only are able to import, let's say 40% of the lines, for instance, we have done that already, where we have just imported data with text to image matching and have just used that data without correcting. We have set the threshold quite high, so we have confident at good ground truth, and then train a model based on it. What you could do then again is use text to image matching again with your trained model, because then it might even give you more lines, and then you have even more imported text to train an even better model. That might be just another feedback loop that you could tie into your workflow to get the fullest out of the data that you have. Because like that, you can really train powerful models, and that might be quite robust, depending on the corpus, of course. If it's one hand, then the model will be super for that hand, might be not that robust. But you have multiple hands in your material already, then you might be able to train a quite good model with it. There's one question in the chat, just quickly to have a look at it. Yeah, so when there are basically no line breaks, or they are not respected, that's what you have shown, Raphael. You need to, how was the setting called? Set the, how was the setting called? If there's no line breaks to be respected in the text document.
Keep source line breaks.
Source line breaks, exactly. Yeah. So that's basically the setting you want to work with. Of course, if you have correct line breaks, which often is the case, then it would be even faster and more powerful, because matching on line basis, when the line break is there, might yield better matching results. But if not, you can still use it. As Raphael has explained, then it's matched on a word basis. And by doing so, I would assume that you might still be able to achieve quite powerful results. Maybe one small side note, you might be working with English material, I'm just assuming. The English Eagle is a okay model, I would say. It's a PyLia, so a standard model, we have the Text-Titan, which is definitely the best model so far for working with English material. If you work with that, you would need to use option 1 that we have seen today. You first need to run the recognition with the Text-Titan and then do the matching with the existing transcription that you've done with the Titan. So not directly through the workflow. That's just some technical restrictions we have at the moment. But by doing so, you really use the best baseline or out of the box recognition, so to speak. Little sneak peek, we are currently training a new English model that might be better suited for English material then, even better than the Text-Titan. It will be a new supermodel. Might still come this year, depending on how quick training is, but training is expensive and takes a long time. So we are on it. So we might expect that, but I don't want to promise too much. That might then also help. If the out-of-the-box recognition is already better, then you might benefit quite greatly from it. Yeah. Are there any other questions? So now is the time if you have any uncertainties regarding settings, because there's a lot of combinations. You can set your text-to-image matching up, and depending on how you set it up, it might give different results. So not as always, but as often, first you need to find the best configuration for your use case, and then it might give you really good results. We hope that we could give you good overview. I think Sarah and Rafael have really done their best to give you that because it's a quite complex topic. Also, technically speaking, I remember developing all of this and discussing all the possibilities that you have and how we can approach this. It's no small feat because there's a lot of different, basically, dimensions to consider. Not just text, layout, putting all of that together and matching running text, line breaks, no line breaks. All of that gives quite a lot of complexity. It is I think, quite powerful tool. We'll be happy to see you use the tool. To quickly always put our vision also as part of the webinar. We really want to build those tools that help you unlock history. The fun part then is yours, working with the historical material. We try to provide the tools. They might sometimes be a little bit more complicated, as in the text-to-image matching case, but still they might give you a great opportunity because like that you can really build on work that you have done previously and now leverage that work to have very powerful models and recognition with that in mind. We have a text-to-image matching article in our help center where all these settings are also described. So you might just look it up there if you want if you are uncertain regarding some settings, we try to document those things as good as possible there. So you can look it up there. We are of course also always here for you. If you want to open a ticket and ask some questions, feel free to do so. Just ask your questions. And we're already working on the next couple of webinars that are coming up in January after the Christmas break. And once we are started into the new years, we will have a webinar about public AI models. So the little sneak peek that I've given you might be that there we can present some of those new models that we have trained or are training at the moment. So yeah, just be ready for that. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Was I sharing?
No, I don't
That
think
was
so.
because you were sharing. I could share. Okay, that was the issue. But you've moved there anyways. So yeah, there's two public webinars coming up for that. So you might also want to join them. And as said, you can always consult the help center or our support customer success team. Yeah. That being said, I think we have some questions. I think most of them we've tried to address them directly during the webinar. If there are some, maybe regarding the future roadmap, we will try to fix some minor bugs. There is no major undertaking planned at the moment to improve text-to-image matching at the moment. but it's complex. If the baseline recognition, so out of the box performance of models is better, then actually we're also improving text-to-image matching, and because it's basically leveraging the models that are actually under the hood. So in some form we are working on it, but in another more concrete term not. But still we tried that or hope that the current tool already gives you a good starting point to work with your material. Yeah, I think that most of the other things we have addressed, and we're also a little bit overrunning already. So I would say that we can call it a webinar. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that we could answer some of your questions regarding all those settings. There might have been some. We hope that you don't have more questions than before. And yeah, just keep unlocking. And we're happy to see you in one of our next webinars then. So have a good evening, morning, night, depending on where you are. And see you soon then.